All right, once again, welcome and glad you're joining us this afternoon for our presentation. It's kind of a seminar, webinar, inspiration-R, whatever you want to call it, but it's definitely something to get you excited about traveling the world. And there really isn't a better partner of ours in the industry to travel on any waterway you want globally. That's true. It's some partners of ours only sail on the ocean, some only sail on the river, some specialize in expedition sailing, some are only in North America. Well, guess what? Viking Cruises is everywhere. It's all of those things, and you're going to find out why their standard of excellence is across their entire fleet, again, from the rivers of Europe to the rivers of the Mississippi in North America. And definitely their newest product is their expedition experience. And you'll find out why they're special and unique. And so I'll go ahead and bring on our partner and friend, Rhine Marks, who is a Viking Cruises employee. He's on their team. He knows this cruise line in and out. He's been with the cruise line for many years, has sailed with them many times. So just want to welcome him. Reiner, good to see you.
Good to see you, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Before I turn it over to you, I have to tease the audience here with one thing. There is a booking incentive. If you hang on to the end, Reiner's going to share with you why it's advantageous to you to book with Bon Voyage Travel your next Viking cruise. But it's not just about booking today. It's about learning and engaging. So don't think that just because we're on a webinar, this Zoom room, you can't engage with us. We're not going to turn your camera on, so don't worry about that. But you can engage with any questions or comments that you might have by going to the bottom of your Zoom box. You'll see a Q&A button as well as a chat button. Go ahead, jump in there at any point in time during the presentation, type in your question or comment, and we'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation, maybe be able to answer your question right on the spot. And if not, we'll engage with Reiner at the end and make sure every question is answered to the best of our ability for the good of the group. But I know as Reiner's going to speak to you, travel's personal. So you may have a lot of real specific questions that pertain to you and the experience you're looking for. That's why you need an advisor. You need an expert to work with you one-on-one, and we have many of those at Bon Voyage. So if you don't have one, reach out to me. Type your name and email in the chat button or the Q&A, and we will connect you with a Viking Cruises expert that can work one-on-one with you. But without further ado, let's turn it over to our friend Reiner Marks. Reiner, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate it. And welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us here today. It is such a great thing to talk about travel again. We've been all locked up for so long in our homes, in our offices, and being able to talk about this and being able to look at future travel is just wonderful. It's just been way too long. So with that being said, let me tell you a little bit who this guy is from Viking. My name is Rhine Marks. I used to work as a chef, as a culinary professional on a number of ships. So worked for 20 years in the industry before coming to Viking, and then fell in love with the product and then went from onboard operations into the sales team. And now I'm telling people how great it is to travel. So I'm a German, German national. You probably hear it, the accent is still there, I've been told. And so please feel free to ask if I mispronounce anything. Let me know. I'm not offended by all means, but I know the accent is still there. So without further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about the allure of cruising with Viking. I love the product. Met my wife on Viking. She was actually a cruise director. So we're one of those couples. We have 3 little Vikings at home. So beyond that, traveling on the rivers is such an amazing experience, right? And you see that some of the advantages already in this first image that I'm showing you here from Budapest. You're centrally located, right? These ships are relatively small. They only hold 190 passengers. Nowadays, with the precautions that we have on board, it will be even less than that. So there's plenty of space to branch out. You can make it as social as you wished it to be. And most of the excursions that we do on the rivers and even on ocean are starting right on the side of the ship. So we're docked in the heart of the town. So It is really, let me walk you through a typical day. You arrive on the ship, you board the ship, you settle into your beautiful cabin, and those are absolutely gorgeous cabins, right? Staterooms from different sizes, that vary different sizes. And here is where your travel advisor comes in very handy, really in that conversation that you have with your Bon Voyage travel advisor, to let them know what are your needs, what are your wants. This information will go very long and help your travel advisor to choose the right cabin for you and with you, right? The right location on board. They are invaluable. So you settle into your stateroom, and you pretty much, your tour program starts right there on the next day with wonderful cities that you not only float by but dock in the heart of, right? You're starting these amazing excursions, and it's beautiful to think about. You're getting these included shore excursions. The daily shore excursions are included with Viking, because Viking also presents an amazing value. But in the afternoons, most of the time, we have wonderful optional tours, because like Ryan mentioned already, we all travel with different interests. We all have different needs and different interests. So our optional tours really give you a great variety of topics to learn about, whether it's art, music, culture. You might be a lover of great wines and would like to do wine tastings along the way, or beer tastings, music. I mean, history, the topics are endless, right? And because we all have the same ideas and the same premises to travel, it's very easy to connect with fellow travelers on board. So there's numerous great areas on board, like our beautiful Aquavit Terrace here. It's also good to know that everybody on board will speak English, because we only have guests from North America, United States, Canada, Australia, and Great Britain. So everybody speaks English. So does our crew. That helps a lot. And all the communication on board will, of course, be in English as well. And our guides, let me tell you a little bit about our guides in those ports. These are all certified tour guides. They have been doing that for a long time. And normally they tell you about their hometown. They take a lot of pride in showing off their hometown. They all speak great English, and they will have plenty of time to answer your questions. And it's also good to know that we're taking our guests in small groups. So it's not 50, 60, 70 people in one group, and you'll be herded through a European town. No, it's groups of 20, right? So you have time, you have the time, you have the access to your guides to ask your questions. Now, what's also wonderful is that these tours are geared to give you plenty of time. So you travel at your own pace, whether you want to tour like a local, whether you do not want to travel with the Viking group and want to branch off on your own and explore on your own, you can do that. You have a lot of flexibility and freedom to do your own thing on these tours, right? Nowadays with COVID, it might be a little bit more restricted than under normal circumstances, but we do know there will be a time after COVID, and these days will come back that we can just roam and go out there and experience and travel. What's also great is that oftentimes you can grab a bike and do like a bike tour along the river or through a town. These are great options to have. And I mentioned initially already the inclusiveness, right? And what we pride ourselves a lot with is that we include a lot of things that you might be used to being charged, in prior vacations. We have pretty much a very, very good idea what our guests want and need, and we include those things. Wine, beer, soft drinks with your meals are always included. Your daily shore excursion is always included. Your meals are included. And so many more things. Wi-Fi is also included, because we want to stay in touch with friends and family. We blog, right? We go on our social media and let fellow friends and family know what we're doing, where we are, and what we ate for lunch today. So these things go a long way, and there's plenty of spaces and areas to do that in peace and quiet on the ship. So even the ships are not as massive as ocean ships. You have plenty of room to kind of be for yourself if you wish to do so. Now, just to give you a little bit of an idea what kind of interests we we suggest to feed, and what kind of interests we see on those vessels. I'm going to go into this in a second. But if you've never been on a river cruise, I want to start with giving you a little bit of an advice, which are the most popular cruises, and what I would suggest would be a great starting point, right? This is again for guests that have done maybe ocean cruises, but never really went on the river before. The Rhine Getaway, hands down our most popular 8-day journey down the Rhine River. So when you see those Viking commercials with this beautiful ship coming along those castles, that's the Rhine Getaway. You touch on 4 different countries, the Netherlands, Germany, France, and Switzerland. And you even have opportunities to extend. So with each cruise that you do, you can make an 8-day cruise easily, a 10 or 12-day journey with extensions in those cities. And again, this is a great question for your travel advisor at Bon Voyage to help you with that and to line this all up and coordinate with flights, right? The Grand European, for those guests that want to stay a little longer, 15 days, right? This is a great starting point, or the Romantic Danube. These 3 are very, very popular journeys. Again, 8-day, 15-day. We do have longer cruises. We don't really have shorter cruises. So 8 days, 7 nights is really the shortest that Viking has. So I promised you some of the topics that I would kind of suggest looking into a river cruise. Those are the wine lovers. I mean, we're literally sailing through some of the most amazing and well-renowned wine regions of the world, whether it's Portugal, the Rhine Valley, the Wachau Valley. It's all right on the rivers. In France, the Gironde, the Dordogne, the Rhone, the Seine. Some of the most renowned wine areas are right, left, and right of the ship. So just to give you a couple of ideas. History enthusiasts, folks that want to learn about the past, recent history, the last 100 years or 2,000 years back, or even further. We visit archaeological sites. We visit World War I versus World War II sites, the beaches of Normandy, the American Cemetery. So there's lots of angles for guests that are interested in history, in learning about culture, art, music of the old world, to take a river cruise and have a fantastic time. Just want to give you a little bit of an idea what the highlights are, for example, on the Danube. So what we're looking at here is our ship approaching the port of Budapest with the beautiful Parliament building there in the back. It's a magnificent sailing. So we have 2 sailings on the Danube, and each one has its own charm. You're spending some time in Budapest, in Vienna, and learn about the amazing food culture, wines, history, music. I mean, we're talking about Beethoven, we're talking about Mozart and Schubert, right? Those kind of musical experience. We even have concerts lined up for you in Vienna. No worries. The experience on Viking is always a very casual one. So no suits, no tuxedos are needed at any time. It's very casual. The only ones really dressing up are the musicians and the dancers. So another great river I mentioned already, the Rhine, with those amazing castles. There is a stretch that is called the Middle Rhine. The Middle Rhine has about 28 castles that are lined up over a 40-mile stretch. And this is the perfect spot to just sit on the sun deck with a beautiful glass of wine or a coffee or a tea, whichever suits you best, to just take it all in. There will be live commentary. You hear about the history of these castles and these areas that we're sailing through. So you get a great idea of all the sites left and right of your vessel. On the Rhone and on the Seine, right, in France, we learn about ancient history. We learn about medieval times, Viking history. I mean, the other Vikings, the ancient Vikings, history of the medieval times, Jeanne d'Arc. There's a lot of the Crusades and those kind of things, but also the amazing culinary world. I mean, this is really France is putting its best foot forward with amazing cheeses, charcuteries, amazing dishes. We visit, we learn how to cook in town. We visit chefs along the way. It's just an absolutely fantastic way to satisfies so many flavors of interest along the way. And I talked already about a little bit when it came to consulting with your Bon Voyage travel advisor when it comes to advice on cabins. That is where they can help you very, very well, to find the perfect spot on the ship, whether you like to go into a lavish suite or a stateroom of any level. That is a great spot to talk about, your advisor. These ships are elegant, they're understated. What's beautiful about them is anywhere on the ship, they're very, very much light-filled, large windows. Many of the cabins have sliding doors with verandas, with French balconies, and you're always surrounded by art, literature, history. There will be lectures on board. It is very relaxing, and you're traveling through Europe. Even though you don't speak the language, it's all taken care of for you, right? On board, of course, let me walk you through some of the areas. We are a cruise ship. There is a bar, full service bar, dance floor, musician, local entertainment with folkloric entertainment that will be provided every day here in the beautiful lounge. Is also your main gathering point. You have your high tea here in the afternoons, your performances. Your cruise director will give their port talk here in this area as well. And unique with Viking is also this beautiful Aquavit Terrace in the very front of the ship. This is where you can relax, unwind in the open. Personally, I think this is the best spot to spend the day and or an afternoon of cruising, or maybe enjoy a dinner as we're sailing into Budapest. It doesn't get better than that, right? So there is a little glass enclosure around for safety, obviously. This is necessary, but it is the best spot on board just to enjoy the scenery floating by. The staterooms itself, multiple stateroom categories are available on Viking. River ships, from the standard cabins to the Explorer suites and everything in between. Again, talk to your travel advisor, please, and ask them for their input and feedback. Dining is lavish, is absolutely fantastic. And not only because I used to be a chef on board, I know what these gentlemen do there on board. They're fantastic at what they do. Freshly cooked meals, locally sourced. They take a lot of pride in their presentation. You will be amazed about the beauty of the food, the taste, the freshness, and the wine pairings. Let's not forget about that. So with that being said, I'm kind of moving on to ocean cruising already. I know time flies, time goes fast, but we have a lot to cover, so I want to touch on everything. We have a lot of images still to show here. We're talking about ocean cruising, and over the last 5 years already, it's hard to believe, we were voted #1 cruise line by Travel and Leisure, recently even by Condé Nast, and we're very, very proud of that, to be honest. Now, what's really unique with Viking, I think this slide kind of pinpoints that very, very well. We're not trying to be everything to everyone, but we think the guests on board, we have figured out very well who is the traveler on Viking, right? Our guests are not young families with children, right? So you actually have to be 18 years or older. Our guests are not sitting in a casino. While we all like to gamble here and there, but this is not something that the typical Viking cruiser does throughout their journey, right? There will be casinos shoreside. If somebody wants to do that, by all means, we'll point them out and we'll even get them there. You see all the things that we don't do that really set us apart from others. We do not have any charges on Wi-Fi, on laundrettes. We do not have any charges on basic spa services. You will not be bothered with art auctions or with any sales pressure of any kind, right? I think this goes a long way. And again, besides all the points that I have here, the fact that we do not nickel and dime really sets Viking apart from the rest of the industry. Very, very different approach to cruising, right? When we talk about the feel on board, the design on board, it was very important to us to create spacious, light-filled areas that are contemporary, that are modern, that are filled with art, culture, and literature all around. They're open spaces that invite to converse with people you might have not known 2 hours before, right? And to make new friends, to spend time with friends that travel with you. And this ship is really, or these ships, because there's 6 already of those, they invite to do just that. Here, this is the center of the ship, the beautiful atrium with this gorgeous staircase and this huge digital screen where we show local photography and art from around the world, surrounded by music throughout the day and the evening, maybe performances here, but it's never the party bands, it's never the animators. It's very classy, sophisticated entertainment. Might be a flamenco guitar when we sail around Spain, or it might be flamenco performance of local dancers. Those kind of performances you will see on Viking. We might go as wild as having a Redback revival band performing here up in the evenings, or show movies under the stars, but it's never animators or contests or those kind of things. You will not have those on Viking. And again, no kids under 18. So with that being said, the staterooms here, the same philosophy that we had on rivers, right? They're your sanctuary on board, your home away from home. They have all the comfort that you can think of, heated bathroom floors, beautiful shower cabins, lavish space all around. And you can see this is a typical cabin here on Viking, plenty of room, even a beautiful vanity here in your working desk, is built in suites. This is a junior suite, that penthouse junior. It's a little bit larger, so you have a living space and a bedroom space here before you get to your veranda. But this is just a little design example of what the cabins look like. Very contemporary, and again, open and airy. And you have this beautiful veranda to step outside. By the way, when we talk about verandas, every single cabin on Viking Oceans has a veranda. Let me say this again. There is no inside cabins. There's no ocean view cabins. Every cabin, from the veranda cabin starting, that's the entry level category, is called veranda cabin, because every cabin has a veranda, has its own view. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I can vouch for this next one, that is that we have fantastic dining on board. And what the best part about this is, it is all included. You do not pay for any food on board anywhere, whether it is a beautiful porterhouse steak at Manfredi's, or it is an amazing 8-course meal paired with beverages at the chef's table dining room. All of that is 100% included, even your 24/7 room service also included. Now, during the times of COVID, you can even during the meal hours order from any restaurant on the ship, and your room attendant will bring it to your cabin. Again, completely included. So all of these great restaurants, like I said, include. And there's so much more to talk about. Again, I cannot emphasize it enough. I hope we get a lot of questions today to go into details. But if you have any follow-up questions, please contact your Bon Voyage travel advisor. Now, very new, and I want to say as new as 2020, we just recently talked about the launch of our Mississippi fleet. I can say that it's not only one ship, there will be more than one, but the first one will actually start sailing in early 2022. And from the get-go, when we started talking about those last year, when the world pretty much shut down, Viking opened up a new ship. So it seems like we're doing things a little backwards, but I can tell you the interest and the excitement was absolutely fantastic. People really booked this product up. 2022, 23 are available already. Even 2024, if you want to look a little further ahead. And what these journeys are, you see that here. There's pretty much 5 different segments that you can do in that first sailing season, from those 8 days in the south to the 15 days the whole river, or in the high summer when it gets a little warmer there in the north between St. Paul and St. Louis, we do America's Heartland as well, this 8-day journey. So kind of determined by the season. This is the first sailing season. There will be much more coming online very soon. So please secure your cabin. If that was always on your to-do list, why not looking into modern, contemporary, beautiful Viking ship. You know, we have a great name recognition. All the fine things that you hear online or from your neighbors, from your friends that sailed on Viking, you will be able to find here on the beautiful Mississippi, and some more, because the ship is significantly larger than your river ships in Europe, right? You have a 5-deck ship versus a 3-deck ship. It is not a paddle wheeler, so a very contemporary ship. Here you see the beautiful Viking Mississippi in St. Louis. Just some design images from the ship already. She's being assembled right now. She's almost completed down in New Orleans, and we can't wait to see her actually up close and in reality. But this is what it's going to look like. Some amazing local cuisine served here. Barbecue up and down the Mississippi River, the different recipes. I mean, it's going to be comfort food, the food of the heartland. Beautiful Aquavit Terrace, and the amazing Viking service all around. Here you see the front of the ship with this beautiful loungy area. It has a lot of design elements from Viking Oceans with some amazing cabin categories. Again, starts with a 275 square foot cabin. Doesn't mean much, but this is way ahead of the river standard anywhere in the world. It is a fantastic size cabin, and then from there it goes even up. Now that is a little teaser on Viking Mississippi. Now I know there was a little interest already about the fourth segment of our presentation today, and that of course is expedition cruising. So expedition cruising also announced in 2020. We launch next spring. We'll launch 2 vessels. So the first one will launch in the spring, the second one a little bit later. The beautiful Octantis and Polaris. These are new builds, built after our specifications, after our plans. And we really wanted to do something very new, something that hasn't been there before, to gain access to areas that are remote, but do that in the luxury that Viking travelers are used to. So getting in these remote areas, but with all the luxury features that you're used to on Viking. And then, of course, we're bringing a lot of expedition equipment with us that will help us to really explore the wildlife, the flora, the fauna, learn about the Arctic, the Antarctic, right? These will be the first 2 areas of the world where we sail to. When I say the expedition equipment, here you see some of the things that will come with us. Zodiacs, of course, ribs, kayaks that you can either operate by foot to have your hands free for binoculars and cameras, and of course also 2 submarines. So these are operated by a pilot, so it holds 6 passengers and a pilot. And the greatest news for those is all included. You do not pay for any of those, right? So what's also wonderful, and I think I even impressed Ryan, I'm sorry I don't have the actual slide for that. What impressed Ryan was, I remember him saying that the fact that we're boarding these crafts inside our ship, so our hangar is actually located inside the ship, so it's safely boarding the equipment, strapping everybody down until they're secure, and then slowly, gently sliding into the water. That is unique. That is very new to the industry. It's never been there before. In the up to these Viking ships, it was always like you board the equipment on the side of the vessel. So there's a little bit of motion of the ocean, but none of this on Viking. Inside the ship, safely, securely, and then slowly lowered into the sea. So that really opens up this type of vacation, this type of adventure to a whole new group of clients, of new guests, right? Now, not enough that we're going into the Arctic and Antarctic. Also, we built these ships for the purpose of going into the Great Lakes as well. So with that being said, these ships are narrow enough to sail through the Welland Canal into Ontario, into the Great Lakes, and from there will navigate the Great Lakes between Canada and the United States, which is absolutely amazing. Nothing of that magnitude has been done before. There is nothing even comparable out there in this type of luxury, in this type of cruising approach that Viking brings to the area. And we saw a vast interest of this already. So I know that many clients have booked our Great Lakes journeys through Bon Voyage Travel. And I've worked with many of the advisors. It's been a fantastic success story. They know the product very well by now. Just to give you some ideas what we're looking at, right? This is a 13-day journey, Canadian discovery between New York to Toronto. One of the first sailings that we do, Niagara and Great Lakes from Toronto to Milwaukee. The Great Lake Explorer between Milwaukee to Thunder Bay. Now, these journeys are the first of many to come, right? There will be much more of these journeys coming up. They might be altered throughout the seasons as we move forward, but these are the ones for 2022 Great Lakes Explorers from Milwaukee to Thunder Bay. And last but not least, undiscovered Great Lakes from Thunder Bay to Milwaukee. Some amazing stops here along the way. Apostle Islands, right? You know, all these amazing Point Pelée for the bird watchers. Some absolutely incredible wildlife that can be seen between Canada and the United States. There are great cities, Toronto, Detroit, you know, so many amazing small town America, large metropolitan cities, great history all around. So this was exactly the reason why Viking is coming to the Great Lakes. With that being said, I would like to go a little bit in detail because we do have to talk about the pandemic and those kind of things. And I want to address a couple of things. I'm sure you have questions and I look forward to answering all of them. But when the pandemic came around, we pretty much noticed we need help. We need professional advice from people who know what they're doing. And help came to Viking in the persona of Dr. Bono. Dr. Rachel Bono is a retired Vice Admiral of the Medical Naval Corps. Her resume reads fantastic. So she retired. She used to be in and out of the White House as a medical advisor, but she is now a Viking, and she designed and created the Viking Health Protocol, which really helped us as one of the first cruise lines to return to travel, return to sailing. And a lot of things are firsts, right? First cruise line to have a full PCR testing laboratory on board. First cruise line to have UVC filters for every cabin on the ship, to have filtered purified air in every single cabin individually. First cruise line who has UVC robots go into the ship to flood public areas with UVC light to eliminate all pathogens. I mean, there has so many firsts, too many to go into detail, but daily testing really allows us to make sure that everybody is safe on board, right? And remain safe on board. Since we're going out every day, if we have a day at sea, no need to test, but after every landfall, it's very easy to test, which also allows you then, because you have to have those test certificates to return, to go to the airport, you will get a printout on the ship, very easy and uncomplicated. We have updated medical facilities. You know, we spend a lot of time and money on updating facilities to make sure that people are safe on board, travelers are safe. Too many details to notice, but just as for the testing, it's not that nasty nose swab. It is a saliva test, very discreetly done in your cabin, and your room attendant will pick up the samples every day, and you have the certainty that everybody on board will be tested, including the crew, right? Because it's you know, it goes both ways. We got to protect our passengers and our crew to make sure everyone is safe. We have responsibilities to many. Now, one thing I can already tell you, in order to sail on Viking for the time being, you have to be vaccinated, right? That is a requirement. You have to be vaccinated. There's really no way around it. So I just want to put that out there upfront. But I think it is one of the safest places to sail on a Viking ship these days, because who of us can tell that we're getting tested daily almost, right? That is very unique. And with that being said, Viking, Ryan, do you want to spread the good news on the offer that we're having?
Yeah, I sure can. If you are interested in a Viking cruise, and how could you not? After hearing all the great stuff, and there's so much more to dive into with our advisors that Reiner just kind of wet your whistle here. If you book with Bon Voyage Travel over the next couple of weeks, so essentially through the end of the month, we have a fantastic show offer. You'll get $100 shipboard credit per cabin booking just for booking with us. That's not something you can get if you book directly with Viking. So I want to make sure that you talk to your travel advisor. If you don't have a travel advisor, pop in the Q&A and let us know that you don't have a Bon Voyage advisor and you want to talk to one of our experts who knows Viking exceptionally well. So we are glad to be able to offer this to all of the participants on the webinar today. So Reiner, is that all you had for today? Because I have some questions.
That is all I have. So I left some time at the end so we can address those questions.
Excellent. I will piggyback if we can go, which is kind of a significant topic, back to the COVID protocols. I'd like to highlight a couple things and maybe ask a few other questions for clarification. Just to remind our listeners and viewers here is that vaccination is required, 100%, no way around that. So that is, as Reiner mentioned, for the foreseeable future. That's essentially every cruise line is operating in that fashion globally. You're not going to find one that is a reputable one that we support that's going to allow anything less than that from a requirement to gain access to the ship. One thing that is unique, and Reiner did mention this, is daily testing. Not only was Viking pioneering in regards to on-ship testing facilities, it pioneered the concept as well of daily testing, and many cruise lines are not doing that and not going to that degree. So I know one of our viewers asked, how can I feel safe on board? Where in your hometown can you go where not only you know every single person is vaccinated, crew alike, right? This isn't just passengers, crew alike. And on a Viking cruise, every single person you're around has been tested and has a negative test that day, not just when they left home, not just before they go back to the United States, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Some of our viewers, Reiner, were asking, I'm off ship. What's the masking requirements? How does that work? Or depending on the destination I'm in, and I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer that.
It is really coming down to the destination. Some ports are very rigorous, right? And I'm just picking some out of the air. For example, Iceland is very, very adamant about wearing masks in the destination. Other countries, I'm thinking some of the Caribbean islands, they're very, very open to, if you're on a walk, strolling through the town, keeping your distance, there is no requirements whatsoever. We do for now, when we talk about going into museums or enclosed areas, of course, we're going to wear our masks. You know, we cannot guarantee a distance of more than 6 feet. So we wear our masks in those. But as soon as we're outside, the mask can come off. And even on board, if you're on the sun deck, you take them off. If you're moving around in the ship and there's other people around, please keep them on. But as soon as you sit down at your table, at the bar, in the dining venue, in the entertainment venue, of course you take them off, absolutely.
I know you answered this, or at least touched on it, that Viking departures now are not sailing at 100% capacity. Do you anticipate a reduced capacity into 2022?
I do. Now, this is me guessing. I know that we are not selling. We're not selling the full ship. We're leaving capacity available, but this will be the practice for the time being into 2022. Also comes down which area. I foresee that we are not selling full capacity for a little while longer.
We did have a specific question about Norway, and that kind of leads into some other destinations that at present may not be allowing foreign nationals or visitors to their country. Do you have any insight? And I know you probably don't have anything specific to that sailing. It would be just keep an eye on it. But to that end, what should somebody, if they're booked on a cruise in February, let's say, as one of our listeners is in February headed to Norway, or there's another destination that right now is on a do not travel restriction by that government?
Now, we have been I honestly look at the last year and a half. We had to unfortunately cancel numerous cruises. But one thing that always has been a great practice, and you can probably back me up on that no guest has lost any of their money. We were able to offer vouchers. We were able to offer to return funds if people were not sure about sailing ever again or in the foreseeable future. So the offers were always geared to make things right for the client, because it's not their fault. It is the sign of the time. Added value vouchers to move your sail date into the future. Matter of fact, for this month, we still have the risk-free guarantee. November, December risk-free guarantee booking with these allows you to move your sail date 2 years out, right? And you can decide up to 2 weeks prior to your sail date and then make the decision. It really takes that guessing game off your table to decide, yes, I'm booking into the risk-free. And then comes the time I don't feel comfortable, you just move your sail date out into the future when you feel more safe.
Excellent. And I know there's a lot of demand for all of your products. It would be safe to say that any reduced deposits or anything like that, because of the demand and the number of people trying to get on a Viking ship, reduced deposits are probably not something we'll really ever see.
Not in the foreseeable future. I can tell you, we talked a little bit before the webinar, we're looking into almost sold out 2022. There is some exceptions, some sailings that are still available, but the pandemic has really created a hunger to go out there. People are ready to travel again and want to travel. And that the biggest problem we have is to provide enough inventory, to provide enough cabins to fill them. Now, I do want your clients to book them, but it is really 2022. We're looking almost more into 2023 for available cabin space. I do not foresee any reduced deposits or any changes in the deposit side of the booking.
You bet. We had somebody mention, and I know on your ocean ships, you have a fitness center. What are my workout options maybe on river? And what can I expect in that fitness center on the ocean vessels?
That is a great question. No, I like to work out as well. On the ocean, I can tell you, state of the art. It's a fantastic fitness center. So this is not just some free weights facing the beautiful window front. These are free weights, ellipticals, rowing machines, running belts. There is striders, bikes, literally everything you can possibly break a sweat, you will find in that workout facility. Now, for the time being, we even allocated a team member who is permanently spending time in that workout facility, who after every time somebody uses equipment, they wipe it down first, disinfect it before the next person can go on this machine, on this equipment to continue workout. That is for oceans. There's also limited capacity. It's not that people line up in front of the gym to begin with, but the facility is quite substantial, and I'm thinking back before COVID, I think you could easily work out with 35, 40 people without stepping on each other's toes. Mm-hmm. So there was plenty of space in there. But I think that's limited at this time to a smaller number. On rivers, now keep in mind, we're always in port, right? So if somebody wants to work out, running is always an option, right? There's always a beautiful shoreline. There's always running tracks along the river. We offer bike rides. We offer canoe adventures, kayak adventures. So the opportunity to be physically active is given. We know the clientele is getting younger, wants to be more active. There's the Nordic walking sticks to get into the vineyards and all of those wonderful things. But there's always workout facilities nearby. Our onboard staff will assist with finding these facilities and get you into a full-size gym nearby the ship and even get you to and from. That has never been an issue.
That's a great answer, because the river experience is about being in port as much as possible. There's no sea days, on a river cruise. So we want you off ship. Viking wants you experiencing the destination. It's all about the destination on the river. And so there's no sea days there. And obviously on the expedition product, there's opportunities to be off ship and physically active as well. Take me on back to the river. We're on a river ship, and what's my stateroom? I know you showed some staterooms. Do all staterooms have verandas? Do they have windows? How do balconies? How does it work for? And I know that's a loaded question because you have multiple rivers and different size ships.
Absolutely, and that's a great question. I mentioned that there's different size cabins, different layouts for every different flavor. From our standard cabins that have a window that spans in the upper part of the wall from one side to another, that window cannot be opened, right? It's a window, you know, probably at chest level and up, allows you to look out into the river, above the river. But keep in mind, it is about, the water levels is about 3 to 4 feet below that, below the rim of the river, of the windowsill. So these are the main deck cabins. Going one level up into the C and D category cabins, where you have your French balconies, sliding doors that will open to a rail. So you can lean out, you can open that sliding door, kind of like your patio door that slides open. So allows you to get, you know, the beautiful view. Veranda cabins and veranda suites will feature a full-size veranda where you can step outside, have chairs, table out there to enjoy the scenery and the privacy of your veranda. And then, of course, your Explorer suites, your AA suites, they have both. They have the Explorer suite actually has a fantastic veranda where you can that wraps around the entire cabin, where you can step outside, have a 210-degree view. There's only 2 of those to each vessel. These are in the very back of the ship, located in the back of the ship. They actually have a secluded kind of an entrance to their cabins as well. But they're very, very spacious, very nicely laid out. Then your AA veranda cabins, they have a living room, bedroom. By the way, suites always have living room and separated bedroom. So in the bedroom, you have a French balcony. In the living room, you have access to your veranda.
Excellent. When we talk to people about river cruising, we always like to mention that, keep in mind, just everything is slightly smaller, right? You're
Yes.
dealing with not 950 passengers, you're dealing with 180 passengers, right? 190. So everything is a little bit smaller. However, if you want that space, the Explorer Suite is a great option for you to get more of a traditional sized veranda and have that additional space. So those are available, but as you mentioned, only 2 on ship, so they go fast. If my travel party includes a third person and I'm looking for triple accommodations, maybe touch on, probably not on the river, but is there triple accommodations on the ocean product?
There is unfortunately not. The products on Viking are always laid out for double occupancy. So we do not have any single cabin. So if somebody would like to book a cabin as a single traveler, there would be a single supplement. You buy the cabin, right? There is no triples, no quadruples, no connecting doors. It is really laid out for couples to book, you know, 2 people for a cabin. There's also no way around of having somebody sleep in the Explorer Suite on the couch. We had those questions. We can't unfortunately do that. The space would be there, but there's some regulations on the river that will prevent us from allowing that.
Excellent. Thank you. That's good feedback. And one thing I do love about Viking, you are consistent and you know who you are and you know who you are not. And that's just fine. If I'm you talk about the food side of things, and it sounds like you've got options for every style and type of person and favorites. So somebody that wants to eat very heavy, there's steakhouses and things like that. But if I'm somebody who wants to eat very light, it sounds like the menus and the different dining venues on ocean, you got a number of restaurants to choose from. But even on the river, you do offer a varied menu options. Can you maybe touch on, as the chef in the room, maybe talk a little more in depth about the cuisine?
Ryan, the culinary program on the rivers has come such a long way. Just in the last 10 years alone, what we are able to do just the technology in the back of the house just has come as far as in front of the house with all the GPS and the infotainment system in the cabins. There's a lot of movement behind the scenes as well, and we're able to offer fantastic options for our guests on the culinary side as well. I mean, over the years, we received a lot of requests, especially when it comes to diets, or food allergies. You can address that nowadays much easier, much faster. You bake your own gluten-free bread on board. You can pretty much address and cook every food allergy or food sensitivity on board. This is possible on rivers, on oceans. We've been doing it very successful. Also, again, here comes a great point that leads me to pointing out that talk to your travel advisor already. If you know, hey, I can have shellfish or I have a garlic allergy. Let us put this in the cruise manifest so we know we can communicate that to our chef on board, and they will meet with you discreetly in the bar and discuss your food. And so you have the same great experience. Whichever allergy you have, you will have the same great food experience. It will be delivered by the chef, so they will make sure that you're not getting the wrong plate. He will cook that meal specifically for you and check in throughout your journey to make sure that you're happy with what we're providing. So on the ocean side, of course, much easier since we have much more space. And you pointed it out. The variety of food on the oceans is just incredible. In all of those different restaurants, yes, that is one thing. But even there, from lunch to dinner to tea time to a late night snack, there's food everywhere, and it's absolutely beautifully presented. The biggest issue that I have is I'm always gaining 5-10 pounds, in even though I know, hey, hold back, what's happening, even though you're going on to these excursions, but it's just a fact of life that you tend to gain some pounds when you go on a cruise, right? So
yeah, I remember sailing and dining with Tor, the Vikings president. We were in Budapest and we were talking, and one of the people at the table said, well, tell me more about your specialty dining restaurant. And he cautioned everybody at the table, said, there aren't specialty dining restaurants and a main dining room. And that's what most cruise lines talk to. He said, every restaurant facility is special. We don't have an upcharge, and you mentioned that, so always want to reiterate that. It doesn't cost you more to dine in a named restaurant. There isn't a main dining room that serves main dining room food. And he said the reason for that is we have special in every dish, in every dining facility. And so I thought that was something to point out that is unique to Viking. And not some of the other cruise lines. I also wanted to point out, and you nailed it, you're right, on the expedition product, something that we talk to our clients about. A lot of people have heard the word expedition and they liken that to, oh my goodness, I have to be exceptionally physically fit. I have to be able to climb, or I can't go on an expedition experience, a cruise or a land vacation. And nothing could be further from the truth. You have varied levels of physical fitness activities if people want to choose something very active or more soft adventure. But bottom line, physical fitness levels essentially of all abilities. And why I say that is the hangar. You mentioned that, and I'm infatuated with this. And most of us can tie into riding Pirates of the Caribbean on Disneyland. And if you can get on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland and get off, you can go on an expedition cruise on Viking, because that is how you will get on and off most, if not all, of the vessels. The ones that would be, the submersible is going to be a little unique there, but most expedition cruises, you're docking on the side of the ship. You're getting onto that vessel on the side. And as you mentioned, Reiner, sometimes a little bit precarious, sometimes a little bit where you have to make sure that you've got the great arm connection with one of the crew members. But the way the vessel sets up with the hangar underneath the ship and in a weather-controlled environment, I think was ingenious and allows for much more people to experience the expedition product. So thank you for bringing that up.
I couldn't agree more. Also, the return of those vessels, of those crafts, is exactly the same way. So those ribs are approaching the ship in the back, are being hooked up and pulled into the hangar. After the craft is secured, you then unbuckle and get out on the other side of the ship, so that the next turn of passengers can approach this craft. So it is really revolutionary. I was very impressed. My mouth was standing open when I saw it the first time. I was like, this is fantastic. This alone is absolutely incredible. As for the submarines, they are lifted by a crane when everybody's securely fastened in there, and then the crane will gently put that craft into the water. These go down to up to 900 feet, but there is so much incredible underwater wildlife to experience. As we know, penguins, seals, and those kind of creatures that spend most of their time in the water. So you just see them, you don't just see them lounging on the ice, you see them underwater performing. It is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see it with my own eyes. So I'm waiting for the invite.
You bet. This will definitely come off. And I will say this, we're mindful of everybody's time. We'd like to complete our webinar here at the top of the hour, just so that everybody has a chance to get on with their day. But last call for questions or comments. So jump on that Q&A button, push the chat feature and ask that question so that we can get it in here. But right before we finish here, Reiner, I want to just remind everybody of the show offer. $100 shipboard credit for every cabin that you book between tomorrow, essentially. We'll get you in today if you call your advisor and book that cabin today, between now and the end of the month. So get that space in. And I would encourage you, and Reiner, you can add your 2 cents, which you already did. Viking is very much in demand. Cruising is in demand. So if you have something to open up the most flexibility for yourself, the best pricing, the best promotional opportunity, this is going to come off pretty salesy, but it's actually very accurately depicted. Book now. And you mentioned it. There is really no space on the Mississippi River in 2022. So if you have any inkling of wanting to go on the Mississippi River 2023, you better call today. Like, that's got to happen today. Even Viking Ocean's product, 2022 is very minimal. There's a few sailings that have more cabins, but it really is because of COVID. So many people have booked further out. So many people that were displaced planned to sail in 2020, planned to sail in 2021. And just as you mentioned, Viking's terms and conditions and policies have been extremely flexible for the consumer to be able to move their bookings, to be able to take the money and put it into a holding account, a future travel credit, a voucher, to be able to say, well, I don't know what I want to do today, but I will do something in the future. There, you don't have to pick that sailing right away if you choose to cancel your voyage, or if, unfortunately, that voyage gets canceled because of things outside of Viking's control. Exceptionally consumer friendly, but because of all those moving bookings, there's not a ton of space in 2022. So get that now. Anything else to add, Reiner, on that?
You know, a great value that I always see is look at the flexible air as well. You know, oftentimes we have some amazing air offers, especially when it comes to the rivers. Oftentimes $299, $399 round trip. You don't find that. That's incredible value. So talk to your travel advisor. They find those deals for you. And that alone, you know, if you can save a couple of $1,000s in air alone, that makes it worthwhile, right? That's right. Go now.
Yeah, I'd encourage anybody, if you're on this webinar and you've never been on a river cruise, and you might say, what should I do? Where should I sail first? The Rhine or the Danube? You cannot go wrong, but that would be your first experience that I would recommend. And I know you would as well, Reiner. Yes. You could get on the Rhine or the Danube in 2022. There's definitely some space available to do that. Why I have the picture in the background, that's the Danube, is because I love that experience of Vienna and Budapest and all the great sights and sounds and schnitzel on that vessel that I definitely partook in. But Reiner Marks, we just want to thank you for a fantastic presentation. You got us excited, but as you said, there's so much more to understand about which trip is best for you. And that's why you want to talk to a Bon Voyage travel advisor. So I'd encourage you to get connected to your advisor now. And thanks again, Reiner, for joining us. And
My pleasure.
Seeing you on a Viking vessel soon.
Sounds good. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great afternoon.